The topic of the speech, empowering by global consensus, must be carried out. Leaders, hosts and vanguard representatives of various countries present at the meeting. Now I am from China at night. Good evening, everyone. Today, I have the honor to meet with friends from all over the world. First of all, I would like to thank us, Mr. Woody, for launching the Global Consensus Conference. At the same time, I would like to thank Doris for its hard work and presence to co-chair this meeting. Let me briefly introduce myself. I am from Hangzhou, China. Name, Baorong Zhang. Name of WeChat. Head of China Region. Twitter name, Regimental Commander. Twitter account, Baorong Zhang. 1. Graduated from college, Nanchang Army Officer College, National Defense Military University of the Chinese People's Liberation Army. Zhejiang University. Education, Bachelor Degree. Army Academy, Strategic and Tactical Command. Specialty College of Zhejiang University. Major in Market Planning and Management. Job title, Deputy Director of a Department of a Domestic Government Agency. Work in a large state-owned enterprise and serve concurrently. Planning Director. I usually like to study the ethics of the Book of Changes. Over the years, I have made an in-depth study of the wisdom of the Book of Changes and the method of yin and yang. I have mastered some astronomy, mathematics, the art of hiding from armor, the metaphysics of Yi, the 5 elements and 8 diagrams, 60 for diagrams and geomancy. Physics. Ternary geography is the longitude, nature is the latitude, Lu and Tao Laiki is easy to learn. Jianxing geography, deep into the wisdom of the Book of Changes, deep into market economics, deep into human psychology, deep into reverse psychology, deep into business management, deep into mathematical energy. I have been in the field of blockchain for many years since 2012, mastering a large number of knowledge and skills, fields of knowledge and precious stones of development logic. Speaking of Pi Network fate, since the first day I met Pi on September 28, 2019, I professionally took up a full range of fearless enabling work for Pi Network, without any. At the beginning of February, why did you uniformly lead the global 314,000 consensus and form a team consciousness of all countries around the world to jointly create, work together, and promote jointly for Pi Network? In fact, the real purpose is to pull up the value behind, bringing infinite appeal and gravitation, which will naturally bring sufficient value-empowered productivity too. Next, I will briefly explain the long-term value of the following Pi and why it agrees on the underlying logic of 314,159. Pi's long-term value logic gives listeners a simple logic. Otherwise many people would still be immersed in the barter of them all. The world's strongest 3.0 Commons and V18 Prism agreement are the proud capital of the project. Before V18, it was the NSA's V15 Prism surveillance program, which is the most powerful, advanced, secure and stable encryption algorithm in the world. But the project developed the V18 Prism protocol, which is separated from the V15 Prism monitoring program. So it is called V18 Prism protocol, which is likely to have only one Web 3.0 Pi common chain in the future, because it takes too much time, energy, money, technology, manpower, material resources, talents and all kinds of talents to develop into such a public chain, is really great. No wonder Professor Nicholas changed the world with block revolutions. In terms of such amazing words, how much gold must be Pi? Remember that it takes 3 years to wash global capital, 5 years to subvert the whole world. Some miners, please don't just think about the mall barter in one day. After so many years of technology research and development, is it enough for Taobao, JD.com, Amazon and Walmart to build the mall? Only engage in shopping malls, which is called points, will challenge the status of global legal tender, but also a global, online and offline encrypted digital currency running on the Web 3.0 public chain to ban the hegemony of the US dollar. This is the core of the core. Through this war between Russia and Ukraine, people all over the world have also seen what problems the global encrypted digital currency has solved. Through the Russian-Ukrainian war, has become the most widely used and inclusive point-to-point encrypted digital currency in circulation in the world. It will be realized soon. Warn everyone what it is better to hold the global encrypted digital currency. The global encrypted digital currency is the protection of wealth. The global encrypted digital currency is their O. As one of our global miners pioneers, please remember that in tomorrow's global block era, only can solve a series of problems, is the safe haven for all capitalists, because is scarce, because is precious, because can resist inflation, because has unlimited value added, value, because is supported by the global online and offline physical and virtual economy, because has the consensus of the global market, because has more technical audit, because can be used in any field in the world. So at this time, no one is willing to sell, can only be obtained through labor, and can only be exchanged for through commodities and products and services. This situation is bound to happen all over the world, so has to become a world yuan. So this is what the project called is the block revolution, is the economic hub of the times, can circulate around the world to achieve online and offline barter payment, change the world, and bring a model of economic development of T. Do we know the payment system to 100 years ago? Suppose you lived to 100 years ago. The index itself should be based on the conditions at that time. You bought a copper cup on Sunday. Give it to the salesman, you said. $1 bill or 10 or 100 doesn't matter. Pay for, you said you could only make it out of paper. In your opinion, what will the salesman say to you at that time? He once told me to pay in silver or gold. No one will believe that a piece of paper will become a more important means of payment than gold and silver. But the dream came true. This piece of paper has ruled the world for 150 years, the war of slavery, just because of that piece of paper. Now it has been replaced by the most advanced payment system, which is suitable for the current era. 3 seconds to trade directly to the other side of the world. No intermediary, no commission, no bank rest, weekends and holidays. This puts kittens in a separate world. Pi is unique and very valuable. Pi is conditional, and it is only a preliminary prospect. And there is an industrial chain with a specific itinerary, which requires more attached energy. Up to now, there are more than 300 public chains, and the most promising one is Pi, as long as the landing ecology is stable and the payment is fast and safe. This is an epic technological innovation. At present, global finance must be an era in which blockchain, digital currency, and legal currency coexist for a long time to come, and Pi shoulders such a mission to change the world financial structure. So, I hope we Pi friends will be aware of this, so that you will know the future value of the Pi you hold. In fact, many Pi friends only know how to dig Pi, do not realize that they are in the forefront of the current world financial system, is about to change, do not know that they have stood in the history of global currency development in a new stage of development. Do you think the people who got rich through Bitcoin were really The traditional currency circle thinking is stuck in the Bitcoin 1.0 Murray 2.0 stage. The logic of cashing out on the exchange is deeply ingrained. When the prototype of blockchain for 0.0 Web 3.0 appears, it will change its thinking. At present, there is no application scenario for all coins in the world. That is, there is no monetary attribute. You can only speculate in coins, and things without application scenarios have no real value. So the price of Bitcoin today mainly depends on hype. This kind of thing needs to be picked up. Leaving the exchange with no one to answer the order will become worthless, and the Pi coin will become the real currency. Give it a monetary attribute. That is to do a complete shopping ecology, which is what Pay is doing right now. There is no need to question whether the dispatch will be successful, because it has already been successful. But it is still improving the necessary follow-up step by step, not because the dispatch is too slow, but because in the internet era of the 21st century, you really can't find a project that is distributed into three countries and regions around the world at the same time, with tens of millions of die-hard fans. 1 year, 2 years, more than 3 years have passed. From the scale of hundreds of thousands of people at the beginning, to the scale of tens of millions of people in the world now, it will reach hundreds of millions in 2023. You can think about it carefully. The school has already mastered the future. Pi is the only one that can prevent world inflation from coming. It is the only trust mechanism that can be built between countries. Financial settlement between countries is the only digital gold that can become the target of national foreign exchange reserves and gold, legal tender of any country. If you want to circulate globally, you must build a multi-node, fast transfer speed, network, more secure decentralization chain on the port, seamless connection. Otherwise, will not go abro. The minutes of the second global consensus meeting formed a 314,159 unified global consensus around the voices of all countries. Although we, as the 314,159 consensus, are the representatives of the country of origin, of course, we will very much respect the consensus of other thinking views and value logic. But here, we hope that miners from all over the world can understand the long-term value of the above and the firm position of the project to form a consensus of 314,159. Cooperate with the project side to reach a consensus and have a tacit understanding. Explain this. On the surface, it looks like 314,159, but in fact, the logic behind it is to stabilize the price of 6,700 first of all, in order to keep stable. because the barter price of 6,700 is already constant above 6,700 in China Mall. So, this time, I'm here to tell the low consensus miners around the world that they are still below 6,700, and hope you can pass it on to influence the shopping malls around the world. Finally, I want all of us to know is not only a block revolution, but also actively shouldering the mission of the economic hub of the times in the deteriorating stage of the entire international economic form. At present, there is not much time left for us to empower miners around the world. We should have a sense of urgency and a sense of crisis to respond positively as soon as possible and unify it into high consensus empowerment. In the following days, the project will arrange the Global Ecological Conference and the Global Barter Voting Conference. So, before June 28th, there is little time left for us by the project side. We no longer have time to doubt speculation and discussion, which takes up the time and energy of a large number of empowered teams. Otherwise, it will directly affect the overall sprint of 6.28. Each of us should have a strong sense of smell and strategic layout. We should know how to limit our time to the knife edge and sprint. The next two meetings of the Pro. In order to enable the 314,159 consensus to transmit energy to the world, it is to form a global consensus that 314,159 energy can be gathered and the voice is unified. I hope that during this period, pioneer miners in various countries will no longer have all kinds of suspicions that led to internal friction. Usually, you can ask more and learn more to improve your own cognition, because all wealth depends on your cognition. Otherwise, it will seriously damage the project's trust that thirsty 5 million avant-garde miners will need hens to lay eggs in the barter network to drive the core values of Pi and the fundamental interests of the Pi chain. We miners all over the world are people who put the overall situation first. Otherwise you wouldn't be called pioneer miners. It is important to remember that everything revolves around the overall global situation, which is not only to unify the global pace, but also to avoid confusion and unnecessary internal consumption. All coordinate. Therefore, we call on the world to unite all the forces that can be united to achieve a satisfactory price for the project, so as to promote our miners pioneers to quickly map and barter large areas of KIC to the official main network. Therefore, after this meeting, the pioneers of miners around the world will have to launch a general attack on the barter consensus in an all-round way. First, who shouted out the consensus first in order to awaken more rookies in the circle, newcomers to pay attention to learning second, to analyze the value of again in order to have the opportunity to give more newcomers and rookies to analyze the value of and enhance their knowledge and cognition third. Only by realizing the consensus of the school circle to hear, in a large area, can they have the concentration to enter the attention learning, and then talk about the value of the school and the interpretation school and the empowering school. At this time, it is through a way that they from the perspective of the current international economic situation, the mission of the times undertaken by has a long way to go, so the value of means that the price must be high. From the current recession of the entire international economic order to the global financial crisis, then, any country in the world urgently needs change to achieve economic recovery, drive and development. Therefore, we global miner pioneers must insist that this price is not only a long way to go for the project, but also of great significance to promote the current international economic situation. We also need to know clearly that Pi Network recently, the core team has been testing smart contract mapping Pi coins and payment tests in various sectors such as KIC automatically executing coin verification, payments, as well as the interactivity of various encrypted assets, including currency and coin, Bitcoin, Tether coin and other encrypted assets trading tests, and plans to test NFT. Because you should know, it is impossible for the project party to bid openly all over the world. If the project side clearly bid, it will be subject to the full supervision of the SEC independent agency of the US federal government. This high voltage line is untouchable, so we global miners need to know that this point is difficult to say, so we have a keen insight into it and smell it through in-depth study of the number of hints repeatedly appeared on the project side, to conduct a comprehensive analysis to identify the market bargain, and then to actively discuss and analyze the various communities to bring about today's 314,159 consensus as the theme. Only in this way can we form a unity, and it is also the global unity that the project parties place their hopes on. We must know ourselves clearly and, as the saying goes, know ourselves and know the enemy before we can win 100 battles. Therefore, we must adhere to the global unity before June 28th. The initial barter is